Hi, this is Mr. Sparrowhawk. We are going to do another page of the Standard of Excellence, Book 1 on the trumpet. Playing through the page. We start out with, we're playing long notes still, which is a great way to warm up. It's our lowest 3 notes that we know so far in the book. And this one will have you playing 2 whole notes in a row. This is marked with a breath mark in between. I would encourage you to, you can use the breath mark if you want. Breathe generally on beat 4 of the first measure, and then make sure you come in on time for the second measure. But if you have developed your breath well enough, and most of you probably will do that very quickly in your playing, that you go ahead and just play through the entire first 2 measures in one breath. And so you know, if you're always practicing breathing fully, you develop your breath support, and it becomes very easy to do this in a very short amount of time, assuming you're practicing every day. So practice every day. And this one repeats notes. So you're going to, of course, start every note with your T sound, with your tongue, ta. And since it's 2 notes in a row, you would do it just as if you were saying the word ta in whole notes twice in a row. So you would say ta, ta, with very little break in between them. If you're taking the breath, then it would sound more like ta, ta. Okay, and when you breathe in, always try to breathe quickly. Use your nose as well as the sides of your mouth, but keep your trumpet set. You don't want to be bringing it down and back up to take breaths or in between measures, even when you have a rest. That's, you know, if it's not much longer than 1 measure, you shouldn't be taking your instrument down. Okay, so here we go. Let's give it a try. Number 8.
1, 2, ready, play.
Okay. All right, moving on to number 9.
Side by side. 1, 2, ready, play.
Just a side note really quickly, when you play number 9 and number 10, where you're changing notes but breathing out for 8 counts, you're still using your tongue. You need to make sure that your tongue syncs up with your fingers so that you don't kind of get an extra note in there. Ta, ta. You don't want it to have the note tongue again on the E and then slur down to the D on number 8, for example. So try to make sure you're syncing your tongue up and just put as little space in there as possible, but make sure you hear a definite start to the second note in the each group of 2 notes. Okay, here we go. Next one is number 10, 2 by 2.
1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, for number 11, we're introducing half notes here. Same concept as playing the 2 whole notes in a row. You're breathing out 3 half notes, so 6 counts total of breath, but then you're tonguing 3 times, once for each note, and you know, very little space in between, so that you can hear the notes begin, but that it doesn't sound like there's a rest in between them. That's the biggest mistake I hear from beginners, is that you play a quarter note and then a quarter rest, quarter note, quarter rest, quarter note, quarter rest, instead of half, half, half. So keep the ta, 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 and then rest. Just while I'm thinking about it, when you are getting to rest, it's always good to end your notes, the note before the rest, with a breath in. So because this is just a half rest, that's a good spot to breathe anyway. So you'll breathe out for 6 counts, and then breathe in for 2, and then out for 6 counts, in for 2. And also don't forget on this one, we no longer have repetition throughout the song in your rhythm. So you're going to end up with the last 2 measures not being 3 half notes. So you have to, if you're practicing tracking the music, keeping your eye on the notes that you're playing while you play, then you'll be good at that. If you haven't been doing that, then I would suggest you go back and start again. And honestly, practice the ones where they are repetitious and they have the same rhythm throughout the song, but still practice tracking the notes, because that's sometimes that's a skill in and of itself, and you have to get yourself used to doing that as well. Even when you have a song memorized, I always try to tell my students, you should still be looking at the notes, because otherwise you never learn how to actually read music, and it gets really difficult after a while when you're trying to memorize everything. Believe me, I know from experience. I tried to do that when I was young, and you can get as far as you can get, and then you hit a brick wall pretty fast, and it makes learning new songs very difficult. So practice tracking the notes as you play, even if you haven't memorized. Okay. All right, so here we go. We're on number 11. Half the price. Here we go.
1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, on to number 12. Similar rhythms that we had in number 11, half the price. We'll have 3 notes in a row. Sometimes the third note is a half note, sometimes it's a whole note. And again, I always like to encourage my students to make a difference in those notes, so that you're reading literally what's on the page. It's just good practice, and when songs get harder, it will make it easier for you to, to read things, basically. So don't memorize too quickly, okay? The other thing is, when you get to measure 4 of this one, there is a whole note as your third note. Good idea to take a breath at the end of that one. I was encouraging you to work towards not doing that earlier. When you get here, if you try not to take a breath there, you'll be breathing out for, let's see, 12, 14 counts. That's probably a little bit too long. By the time you're getting to the 14th count, you're probably going to start running out of air, and then your tone becomes weak, and you lose a bit of that breath support that you want. So here we go. Cardiff by Sea, number 12.
1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, we're going to do number 13, which is a duet, when you have 2 players playing at the same time, usually in some sort of harmony. Some of the notes are in unison, which means they're playing the same note, and then a few of the notes are in harmony, which means they're playing 2 different notes that go well together, hopefully. I'm going to start out just doing number 13A, and then I will do a separate one for 13B, and you can practice them separately is a good way to practice them. 13A.
1, 2, ready, play.
And we'll switch to the B part.
This time, you play the B part while listening to the A part. 1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, here is number 14, Go for Excellence. I like to use this one as a challenge song because it mixes, it's the first one that really mixes up the notes a lot and the rhythms, and especially in measure 5, you want to be careful and watch for that rest at the beginning of the measure. And again, if you've been practicing tracking your eyes with the notes, then that's going to be pretty easy for you probably at this point. If you tend to look away from the notes and get everything memorized, then again, I encourage you to go back and start over with the songs that you know at the beginning of the page really well, but practice keeping your eyes on the notes as you're playing them. So you're looking at the note while you're playing it. And it's going to make it a lot easier when you get to songs that mix it up a lot more like this, okay? Even more than the song Mix It Up. All right, so here we go. Number 14. Go for Excellence.
15, a quarter's worth. 1, 2.
Here we go, number 14.
Number 14, go for excellence. 1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, this has been fun. We'll see you on the next page.